The tiered system of COVID-19 restrictions is inadequate and must be revised before England leaves lockdown, leading medics have warned, amid reports that ministers are drawing up plans to allow families to mix for up to 5 days over the festive season. We're joined now by Dr. Bharat Pankania, an expert in infectious disease control from the University of Exeter. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming on. First of all, I suppose, whether this tiered system works or not, and I think you agree that it doesn't work, what should happen then on December the 2nd when England, certainly in the UK, comes out of this current lockdown? Where do we go from there, in your view?
Well, we need a proper control and command infrastructure in place. We've asked for this for many, many times, that enable the local regions to control and manage these outbreaks, because when we have centralized contact tracing and centralized testing, it doesn't quite work. And similarly, complicated layers like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 also don't work. What we want are simple regulations and simple parameters to work with.
But the rule of 6 was there to make it simple, but you don't think that worked either?
Well, let me share with you how you can manipulate the rule of 6. Immediately, people start thinking that if I'm in a group of 6, I'm safe. That's just not true. Just think about it. You can have a group of 6 at breakfast, another group of 6 at lunch, another group of 6 at supper, and so on. The clear message is you have as few a number of interactions with other human beings as possible. Not necessarily make it up to 6 and you're okay. It isn't okay.
What do you make of the idea that we may, over Christmas, have maybe 5 days where we can be with up to 10 people? That might not include children. Obviously, psychologically and emotionally, that's actually quite a wonderful thought for most of us, I imagine. But medically speaking, from your point of view, in terms of controlling COVID, how do you feel about that?
Well, the SARS-CoV infection is a human-to-human infection in most cases. And if we gather together as too many humans, people will get infected. I think the message should be invest in 2020 for a better 2021. Keep your Christmas low-key in this year so that you are free of infection in the new year. We've got vaccines almost around the corner. It is better to say, have a low-key Christmas this year. It is one way to keep safe. But
it's obviously going to be a very difficult message for a government to give, isn't it, when the country's basically been isolating itself from one another since March. Do you appreciate that there is a very difficult balancing act here for the government to achieve?
Whilst it is a difficult balancing act, the virus doesn't look at it that way. And we are almost there with respect to spring will arrive, vaccines are arriving, and we've had difficult, painful lockdowns. Endure a little bit more pain, and I call it investment rather than pain. And therefore, 2021 can be a better year, because I am very, very concerned that we don't have a surge of cases in 2021, January onwards.
It sounds to me like you feel that the lockdown we're currently in should just continue through December, that actually there shouldn't be an easing up of any of these restrictions at the moment.
We need to tread very, very cautiously, because we cannot survive with frequent lockdowns, removal of lockdown, and then lockdowns again. And in this lockdown, by the 2nd of December, we need to know, have the case numbers come down? Are we measuring the case numbers so we know that they've come down? And if they haven't come down, you need to maintain restrictions, because if you don't, and remember, it is December, people will be indoors, people will be mingling, it is the festive season, case numbers will go up.
Well, there's a lot at stake, isn't there? Thank you so much for joining us and outlining your thoughts there, Dr. Bharat Pankania, an expert in infectious disease control.